Well, hey folks, welcome to a gloomy, rainy day up here in the mountains of Vermont. My name is Brad, and today I have hiked up into the middle of nowhere with my metal detector to see what we can find around an old stone-lined foundation that existed somewhere between the 18 and the 1900s. Now, the things that I'm hoping to find today range from the valuable coins or jewelry to the everyday items like buttons or horseshoes, anything that can tell a story about how the folks that used to live here lived their lives. Now, if you're new to my channel, I post one of these videos every single Friday, so if you like what you see, consider subscribing to see more. I'm not gonna waste any more time. I'm gonna get out my metal detector, see what we can find. Well, given that this is a farm, but I've had oxen more than likely and horses, and I just found some sign of horse. You can see down here. Haven't really cleaned it off yet. I am guessing that this is going to be what's called a bridal rosette. Yeah, the back is filled with lead. I wonder if there'll be an image in the middle of this one. Doesn't look like it. But this would have been on the bridle of a horse. Oftentimes you hear the term bridal, sometimes your mind goes to like a wedding, a bride, but this is for a horse. It would have been up here on the head, but you know, with the saddle and the various other harnesses, honestly it could have been anywhere. Common find for farms, but this is an especially pretty one. Silver plated, nice design. A lot of times they're just flat and blank. Great find. Raining again. One comment I get all the time on my videos is, why don't you check the stone walls with your metal detector? And I do. I've just never ever found anything shoved in the stones of one of these New England stone walls. Until now. And I want to temper your expectations a little bit because it's not very exciting, but it is something shoved in the stone wall that I found with my metal detector. It is iron. Let's take a look at it here. You can see right here maybe. Pulling it out. Drum roll. Dun, dun. Maybe one of the largest spoons I've ever found. A big iron, was that a ladle? Maybe not. Now, why was it shoved in the stone wall? I don't know. A kid probably did that, right? Oh, maybe there was some other reason for it. Maybe we'll stuff it back in the stone wall. Maybe it was there for a reason. Who knows? So when I get a really nice target, I like to get the cameras out ahead of time so that we can dig it up together and kind of share in the excitement of whatever it may be together. But I try to restrict that to when the number on my metal detector is above 90. I dig a lot of holes throughout the day, and I just can't possibly get my camera out ahead of time for every single one. All right, I've got a pretty nice target here. It's an 86 on my metal detector. That is a button. So this target, I hit it and it was a 91. I said, all right, I'm gonna get my cameras out. I hit it a few more times and the number kept on going down. Evened out around an 86, so I said, all right, it's probably a button. Not gonna get the cameras out, and it's a coin. Oh well. We're gonna take a look at it together here. I haven't even peeked at it. You can see it. It came out in my shovelful. In fact, it might be a button. We'll find out together here. Oh, it's definitely thick enough to be a coin. It has a hole right in the middle of it, which is interesting. I'm gonna rub it a bit to see if we can identify it. Oh yes, I see now. It is a US large cent. So this is the bust side, and it's very difficult to make out, but this is the bottom of her shoulders, and the back of her hair is back here, and there's stars around the outside. And then this side it says United States, and there would have been a wreath in the middle. So the question is, why is there a hole in it? And there's no way for us to know 100% why they would have done this. There's lots of theories. Sometimes they would nail it to the wall for good luck or some other superstitious reason. These were oftentimes repurposed as children's toys, pie crimpers. There's a whole niche of coin collecting specifically geared towards altered large cents because they had many, many purposes, especially on a farm like this. Your washer wore out. It's way easier to put a hole in a large cent than it would be to go downtown and get something to fix your plow or whatever. But that's a great find. It is an old coin. I'm gonna guess probably 1830s or 40s with a hole in it, which makes it extra special, whatever they happen to be using it for. All right, I have a bit of a simple find here, but one that I'm really excited about because I've never found one quite like this. You can see down here, still in the hole, there is a piece of escutcheon to a dresser or cabinet. But look, the handle is still on there. I have never seen this, both the escutcheon and the handle. And it looks like maybe this was just kind of home repaired, because typically there are these little pins that go through that have holes that accept the handle, but this just has like some brass strips of some kind. Man, that is an awesome, awesome find. You know, it's hard to imagine being this far out in the middle of nowhere. They would have, on a wagon pulled by a horse or oxen, brought furniture that would adorn something as beautiful as this. Creature comforts this far up in the mountains. That is really something. Well, I just found something that's a bit surprising for this place, but after that escutcheon, maybe not. I've already done quite a bit of work on this because I wasn't sure it is what I think it is. You can see here, it's a spoon bowl. It appears to be a silver alloy. It's probably not a high grade, but it is a tarnished silver spoon. And I find utensils essentially every place I visit, but silverware is pretty rare. Unfortunately, this one is missing its handle, so we can't see any hallmarks. Try to figure out when or where it was made. That's certainly what it is, a tiny little silver spoon. No silver coins here. Probably won't find any here given it was a poor farm, but it had a silver spoon. So thus far today, I am finding a ton of buttons. All different varieties. Started off with this big old coat button, but you can see that there's varying sizes, shapes. You know, this was a farm, so it makes sense these were hard-working people losing their buttons. But I just found a button that's pretty interesting. It's not so often we find buttons from hundreds of years ago still attached to fabric. And you can see here, this isn't just the thread, this is the garment. Maybe when the button came off, it took a hunk of shirt with it. Like a yellow-brown wool. It's pretty interesting, kind of gives us some insight into what folks were wearing here back then. I'm going to try to keep this intact all the way to show the landowner. I think they'll get a kick out of that. All right, I've got a pretty nice target here right next to this pile of moose dung. It's a 93, which is pretty high. It's out of 100, so let's see what this is. Well, it's a coin. I'm gonna bring the cameras in and get a closer look here. Okay, you can see it right here. Haven't cleaned it off at all yet, but I have to assume that it's going to be a U.S. large cent. It is caked with mud. No, it's this must be a token. Maybe you can see there it doesn't have the classic 1 cent or Lady Liberty on the front. There's just some text. And in the 1830s, there was a real shortage of coinage. And so different manufacturers, button manufacturers, general stores were making their own large cent style coins. And oftentimes they weren't very good quality brass, so they corroded like this one is. There's definitely going to be more text down there, but I really just can't read any of it. And this side, which is substantially better condition, there is again more text around the outside. In the center, there's probably going to be a date on there. So these are sometimes called advertising tokens or hard times tokens. I think those are specifically in the late 1830s. And it's just a really interesting part of U.S. history, whatever it happens to be. These are oftentimes local businesses if it is like a general store type token. I cannot wait to get it cleaned up and see if it's really, really local or if it's in New York or New Hampshire or, you know, the wider area. But that's a great find. For me, much more satisfying than just, you know, a large cent, which are fairly common. All right, folks, well, it has been raining on and off all day. My feet are soaked to the bone, so I'm gonna throw in the towel. I've had enough. I'm gonna get out of the woods and get dry. I didn't really get to go as long as I would have liked to today. A very small pile of treasures down here, but spring in Vermont, before the black flies have come out, is always a special time. The forest is coming to life. It was a great day, despite the rain. Let's take a look at all this stuff, and I'm gonna get out of here. And here is the small pile of treasures from an old farm up in the mountains of Vermont. I did wind up with 13 buttons. They're all very different from one another, big ones, small ones, but I've never found one quite like that with the fabric still on there. A couple pieces of horse tack. We've got a rosette and a small buckle. A couple pieces of spoon fragment back here, but I also found my silver spoon bowl. Wish I was able to find the handle to that one. The escutcheon with the handle still intact. I'm going to try to hang that on my wall just as it is. Out front, the 2 coppers for the day. One of them is a large cent with a hole in the middle, and then the other one I'm not sure, advertising token or a hard times token. All in all, cannot complain about all of this stuff, especially this. Look at that silver spoon. All right, I'm gonna pack all this up, start hiking on out. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and hopefully I'll see you next week.